Let's go over the biggest reveals at the Game Awards, including many release dates for big upcoming games. And believe it or not, there's some other news as well, mostly for things that were not at the Game Awards and why. So a ton of gaming news to go over. As you might know, I was attending the Game Awards. I had a pretty sick spot. So yeah, sit back. Let's go. The future of Tomb Raider was finally revealed. I've discussed rumors about this new game in these Sunday videos before, but now we know it's called Tomb Raider Catalyst. Launching in 2027 and made by Crystal Dynamics, the studio behind the 2014 reboot and Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's taking place in India. This should be the largest world in a Tomb Raider game yet, and while they don't use the term open world, that has of course been the rumor for a while, essentially meaning that it will be far less linear compared to the previous titles, which the final scene of the trailer seems to indicate as well. We can use the dual pistols again, have our grapple hook back. I'm excited, but it will probably be a while before we see new footage, because first we're getting Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, a remake of the 1996 original. Crystal Dynamics is also involved here, although it's likely Flying Wild Hog that is doing most of the development. You might know them from Evil West most recently. But yeah, this looks awesome too. Fighting dinosaurs again, yes please. It's coming in 2026, possibly around the 30th anniversary, which would be the end of October. And Lara is getting a new voice actress for both games, Alex Wilton Reagan, whom you might know as Aya from Assassin's Creed Origins and Alt Cunningham in Cyberpunk. We also got multiple Star Wars game announcements. The first Game Awards reveal was Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, a brand new single-player narrative-driven action RPG and a spiritual successor, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. But yeah, the cinematic trailer is all we got because the studio making it was only formed this year. Jason Schreier rightfully noted that 2030 is an optimistic guess for a release year. 4 years to make a deep RPG where choices shape the outcome of the story is still not a lot of time when building something from the ground up. But Casey Hudson, who's in charge of the project and previously worked on Knights of the Old Republic, the Mass Effect trilogy, and Anthem as well, took to Twitter saying, "Don't worry about the not till 2030 rumors, the game will be out before then. I'm not getting any younger." Feels like a tweet that won't age well, but I hope he's right. Either way, this was announced way too early, likely to recruit developers. I would not put expectations on this yet, similar to Star Wars Eclipse, another Star Wars game revealed at the Game Awards in 2021 that we still have not heard anything about since. Star Wars Jedi 3 from Respawn, which EA already confirmed, will likely release years before Fate of the Old Republic. Now, a Star Wars game that will definitely come out and it looked awesome is Galactic Racer, a brand new pod racing game made by ex-Need for Speed and Burnout developers, already coming in 2026. I think it will be a really fun time. So you likely know about the statue, right? That was teasing an announcement at the Game Awards. Well, this was indeed for Larian, as had leaked shortly before the show. They did a special performance before revealing a very cool but brutal cinematic. The next project after Baldur's Gate 3 is simply called Divinity, a continuation of the Divinity Original Sin franchise. It won't require prior knowledge of those earlier games though, so it's basically a new entry point into the series. Not much else is known yet, including whether it will be turn-based or more action-focused. Personally, I would love to see them try to compete with The Witcher and make this an open-world action RPG with the deep choices and consequences they are known for. Now let me know what you think, but yeah, this is another game that is still far away. To everyone's surprise, the new Control game called Resonant is already dropping in 2026. While it's a sequel, the story will be completely standalone as we follow Dylan, the brother of the main character from the first game. He'll be far more melee focused, using a shape-shifting weapon that can turn into a two-handed hammer, dual blades, and more. Resonant will also lean more into RPG elements, so expect deep progression with multiple playstyles. Love that it takes place in Manhattan. We of course saw this as well in Alan Wake 2, but in Control Resonant, it should be more open-ended, essentially semi-open world, letting us tackle activities in different orders. I'm hyped, this looks really awesome, and it's exactly how I want games to be revealed. Do a cinematic intro to set the tone, then show gameplay, and a release window that is not too far away. Now speaking of release windows, we got many more release dates confirmed at the Game Awards. Lego Batman will be dropping on May 29th. Phantom Blade Zero, one of my most anticipated games for next year, drops on September 9th. They dropped an insane new trailer showing more enemies and weapons. It looks awesome. The Invincible fighting game is coming April 30th. A new Diablo expansion is dropping on April 28th. And the Paladin class is already available to play now if you pre-order. Pragmata from Capcom launches on April 24th with a PC demo available now. Mila Jovovich, who you might know from the Resident Evil movies, is an elusive target in Hitman in February 2026. Seros, the Returnal spiritual successor, was delayed from March 20th to April 30th, which a great move given how crowded March is. And they showed pretty cool deluxe edition outfits inspired by other PlayStation franchises. And then we got Highguard, a new free-to-play shooter by ex-Titanfall and Apex Legends developers, which launches January 26th. It has you ride mounts, raid locations, but apart from that, it does seem like just another hero shooter, which is fine, but it got the final slot at the Game Awards, so a huge spotlight. Now, this could totally be the next big multiplayer thing, and I get that Jeff Keighley wants to also announce big multiplayer games that could be a hit, but so far nothing is screaming, oh my god, this is amazing, so we will see how it plays out, but overall a weird choice for the final game. Then I quickly want to go over some other noteworthy reveals, including confirmation that Leon will be in Resident Evil 9 as another playable character, giving us more action-focused gameplay alongside the survival horror elements with Grace. Now, this was probably the most hyped trailer of the show and also got the biggest audience reaction. I want to quickly touch on No Law, a cyberpunk-style game from the developers of The Ascent. I think it looks pretty cool. A Total War game set in the Warhammer 40k universe was revealed. The Witness creators revealed an extremely ambitious puzzle game called Order of the Sinking Star. There's going to be a new third-person open-world action game set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe called Warlock. The new PlayStation live service game from the Left 4 Dead creators and J.J. Abrams is called For Loop. But yeah, it did not look that great. The Force 3 was revealed with a cool setting, and Ace Combat 8 was officially announced as well. If I missed any big Game Awards reveals that you are looking forward to, let me know in the comments down below. I was invited by IO Interactive to go to the Game Awards and could also attend a panel where they revealed Lenny Kravitz as the Bond villain for 007 First Light. Still, like, I have to see more. Right now it kind of feels more like a Far Cry or Ghost Recon villain, but maybe he will be more of a companion later on after his first encounter with Bond. It will be interesting for sure, but I think overall the game is looking very, very awesome. It's Uncharted meets Hitman, set pieces, really cool locations. I can't wait for the game, and we'll have some exclusive details a little later on, so stay tuned for that. Right now though, let's go over more gaming news. Leave a like, that would really help me out, and subscribe, because we post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Now, time for quick shots, news stories I will go over quickly. A big reveal that was missing from the Game Awards was the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, or should I say Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. A rating for the game went live this week, meaning a release is likely 3 to 4 months away at most, which lines up with Tom Henderson's rumor that it's coming out in the week of March 23rd. Now, the Assassin's Creed YouTube channel changed its logo right before the Game Awards from the red Shadows logo to a basic black one, which also caused people to think that it would show up at the Game Awards. But as I've speculated on the React channel, this does not necessarily mean that it will be revealed soon. I really think the hugely successful Oblivion remaster strategy, doing like a big reveal stream fully focused on the game and then shadow dropping it, has opened the eyes of some publishers. Now, I'm not saying Black Flag will follow the same strategy, but the very long pre-post-launch marketing cycle for Assassin's Creed Shadows did not really do the game any favors. So it could actually be beneficial for Ubisoft to keep a short marketing cycle and release it at the peak of excitement. Xbox was also largely missing from the Game Awards, apart from winning an award with South of Midnight and announcing that it will be coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 in spring 2026. Still, Xbox has one of the biggest years ever lined up for 2026. It's their 25th anniversary, and celebrations should kick off with a January developer direct that was now confirmed. As you might know, every year Xbox sends a camera crew to several of their studios to highlight upcoming games. Last year we saw Doom the Dark Ages, Expedition 33, South of Midnight, and a surprise reveal of Ninja Gaiden 4. And we now know that for the developer direct in January 2026, they will visit Playground Games, likely to highlight Forza Horizon 6, which seems to be planned planned for the first half of 2026. But yeah, they're of course also doing Fable, so fingers crossed they will show more of that game. Other potential candidates include the Coalition with Gears of War E-Day, and 343 Industries, now called Halo Studios, with the remake of the first Halo game, although that was already revealed recently, so they might save some new footage for the Xbox showcase in June. We could also see a third-party studio during the developer direct, maybe IO Interactive with 007 First Light, or the developers behind Tides of Annihilation. Both games appeared in their recent partner showcase. Now let me know what you hope to see in the comments. I'll of course keep you posted here. Other quick Xbox news includes the fact that Black Ops 7 did not perform as well as anticipated, and they now announced that Call of Duty will no longer do back-to-back Black Ops or Modern Warfare releases. So we're still getting yearly releases, just not from the same sub-franchises. Basically a return to how things worked before. Like, it really seems that they have to rethink the Call of Duty strategy. I hope that they play it less safe and introduce more interesting shooter and multiplayer gameplay that really pushes the genre forward, because these games are very expensive and Xbox now mostly relies on software sales, because we learned this week that the Xbox hardware was outsold during Black Friday by a little known Kinect style console. So the PS5 accounted for 47% of total Black Friday hardware sales, the Switch 2 for 24%, and the next Playground device came in third with 14%. So Xbox is at around 10%. A similar situation played out in the UK. Now it is worth noting that Xbox did not run any major Black Friday hardware deals, but even so, Xbox console sales have really fallen off a cliff, and Microsoft does not seem to be doing much to reverse that trend. Then there is an interesting development. Earlier this year we learned that the Perfect Dark reboot was cancelled at Xbox and the studio was shut down. Take-Two actually wanted to take over the project from Microsoft, but the two sides could not reach a satisfactory deal. So now instead, Take-Two has formed a new studio led by the former Initiative executives, including the studio head and Brian Horton, director of Spider-Man Miles Morales, who was also leading Wolverine before joining the Initiative. I'm a big fan of Take-Two continuing to invest heavily in single-player projects, giving Ken Levine all the resources for Judas. Come on, give us a release date for this game. Releasing titles like Mafia: The Old Country and having Hangar 13 now work on a new Mafia game. We know a new BioShock is in development, and now they're giving these talented The Initiative developers a chance to form a new studio. Now fingers crossed it does work out better this time. I'm curious to see what they make. Maybe it's a licensed game like a Marvel Star Wars title. I will keep you posted here. Skipping the rumor roundup because all of the leaks were for the Game Awards that of course already happened, and I want to keep the videos at 12-minute max, and it's already not working out this week. So let's move on to this coming week, because we still have a few interesting releases. The biggest one is Avatar from the Ashes, the DLC for Frontiers of Pandora, launching on December 19th. I'm really looking forward to jumping into this, especially with the new third-person perspective, which is already part of the base game right now. The DLC costs $25 though, so hopefully it's worth it. On the 17th, new games will be added to the PlayStation Plus Extra library, with highlights including Assassin's Creed Mirage, meaning that you can also play the new DLC that was recently released. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is part of the lineup, and more. We also get the final update of the year for Assassin's Creed Shadows on the 16th, finally adding new finishers to the game, a new mission, a new project, and much more. Expect coverage here on the channel, on the JorRaptor as well, and I will do videos on the React channel too. Thanks for the support over there, by the way. I love making these videos, and seeing everyone show up is awesome. Hope to see you in my Monday stream. You can set a reminder by clicking on the screen. I will discuss more of my Game Awards adventures there. A new Sunday news roundup will of course be dropping next week, so hope to see you there as well, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.